So one of the common conversations in every deer camp is, where do you sight in your rifle? Do you zero at 100, 200 yards, 300 yards, an inch high at 100 yards? Of course, a lot of that has to do with the distance you think you're going to encounter your game, what caliber you're shooting, whether it's a flat shooting 308 or whether it's a 243 or a slug gun, what have you. So we have the 308 in the Encore right here. We have the Hornady Precision Hunter ammunition. And we're going to go and sight in at 100 yards and shoot 100, 200, 300, then re-sight in at 200 yards, and then go back and shoot 1, 2, and 3, then sight in at 300 yards and shoot 1, 2, and 3 again. And that's going to show you the point of impact change and the optimal distance to sight in a 308 for medium range distances, call it 150 to 200 yard shot. Let's confirm our 100 yard zero, and then we'll shoot 200 and 300 yards. So if you read the box of ammo here, you're 2.2 inches high at 100 if you're 0 to 2 and 8.8 inches low, 8.89 inches low at 300 yards. So what Hornady is recommending on the Precision Hunter ammunition is a sight in zeroed at 200 yards. But for this exercise, we'll get a 0 at 100. All right. All right. 1/4 inch low at 100, that's perfect. Now we're not gonna change the scope at all. We're just gonna go right to 200 and see what our bullet drop is at 200 yards. All right, 300 yards. Now this one, according to the math, should be 15 inches low. All right, let's walk down, check it out. All right, 100 yards. As you can see, a little bit of wind drift here, but again, we're going for height, so that's dead on. Let's go to 200. 200 yards. All right, caught a little bit of wind drift, but again, not bad. This is our aiming spot, so we have 1.5, 2.5 inches low, which is spot on. So 2.5 inches, is it gonna matter on a whitetail? Is it gonna matter on antelope or mule deer? Absolutely not. So if you're sighted in at 100, point blank range, at least to 200 yards. I probably wouldn't go much beyond that. So let's check out the 300 yard. So here we aim at the top Hornady target. So we're about 15 inches low at 300 yards, being zeroed at 100 yards. Absolutely would have missed the animal. Now, can you float the shot, aim just above the spine if it's a whitetail or a mule deer way out in the prairie or something? Sure. But that's not going to give you an accurate aiming point. So consensus, if you sight in at 100 yards, don't go beyond 200 yards for your max distance. So if you're hunting in the Northeast, you're hunting in the Midwest where you don't have long shots, absolutely dial in at 100 yards. But if you think you're going to be beyond 200 yards, you're going to have to adjust your point of aim. Now we're going to go back. We're zeroed at 200 now. So we'll shoot at 100 yards. So this should impact about 2 to 2.5 inches high, according to the box of ammo. So let's see how she does. All right, it looks like it's about perfect, about 2.5 inches high. So now we'll go shoot 200, and this should be 0. All right, try to give it a little bit of wind, and still floated me to the right, but not bad. And now 300 yards. Now this, according to the box, should be about 9 inches low. All right, let's walk down, see the results. half, 1, half, 2, 2.5 inches high, exactly what the box said. So this is 0 to 200. So we'll put a sticker over this to show you. But again, if I think I'm going to be shooting beyond 100 yards, maybe under 300 yards, definitely want to zero at 200. But I am 2 inches high, so the thought has to be in your mind, if the animal's closer, you got to aim lower. So 200 was dead on, just a touch high. Obviously 100 hit low. Let's see where we hit at 300. So we are about 9 inches low at 300 yards. So not what I would call an effective range. So sighted in at 200, I would say somewhere between 250, 275 would be your max distance. When you think about the kill zone of certainly a whitetail, you know, when you take from the center line down, you probably have 4 or 5 inches. So that's definitely too much drop to shoot a whitetail 300 yards. All right, 300 yards, 0. Let's confirm it's on. All right. Make sure that it's on. See if we got to make any small adjustments. All right, I am a touch high. I need to come down 1.5 inches. Remember, the whole point of this is to have everything zeroed and then look at the other ranges. So now I got to come down 1, 2 clicks. So good. All right, perfect. On to 200 yards. So 200, I should be about 6 inches high. So let's see where it hits. All right, not as high as I thought, probably 4 inches high. All right, we go to 100. Whoa, way high. All right, it makes sense. If you 0 to 300, that bullet is rising. I mean, it rises and drops down to 300 yards. So let's go look at the targets. We'll pull them all, we'll lay them out, and we'll show you the difference on the point of impact. All right, 300 yard shot, 300 yards, and 300 yards. So here's what this tells us. Oops. All right, so here's what this tells us. At 100 yards, if I'm zeroed in at 100 yards, I hit bullseye. If I'm 0 to 200 yards, shooting at a 100-yard target, I'm 2.5 inches high, and then I'm about 5 inches high at a 300-yard zero, shooting at 100 yards. So this really is too much. You would not want to be 0 to 300 yards and shoot an animal probably under 150 yards. Now, that's assuming you're shooting .308 precision hunter ammunition. Every caliber is a little bit different, but this is a pretty good guideline for whitetail ammunition. So 200 yards, if I'm zeroed, hit right in the center. I hit a couple inches low at a 100-yard zero, and I hit about 3 inches high on a 300-yard zero. So the 200-yard is kind of the sweet spot if you're zeroed at 1, 2, or 3, because all of these would have killed the deer. Now, 300 yards, this really separates the ammunition. 300 yards zero, spot on. 200 yards zero, I'm 9 inches low. 100 yards zero, I'm 15 inches low. So if I'm sighted in at 100 yards, pretty much my effective range is going to be about 225, maybe 250 before you drop out of the kill zone. At 200 yards, it's that sweet spot, right? I'm 0 to 200 yards. I'm 2 inches high at 100 yards, and I'm 8 or 9 inches low at 300 yards. And at 300 yards, as I said, you can't shoot anything close. So you have to determine what is a range that you think that you're going to engage your game at, and then what is the maximum range you think you're going to shoot. If you think you're going to shoot 300 yards, 0 at 200. If you think your maximum shot is 200 yards, 0 at 100. And of course, you could always take the old school way, just put it in inch height 100 and shoot out to 300 yards.